my name is Lakiesha Graves, and I am here to answer a few questions about the character Briana in The Eyes of Love and Vengeance. This was the character that I portrayed. I got a few questions from the director, so let's go into them. The outfits you wore on set to portray the character were letter perfect. How did you decide what to wear? Well, Briana is a church girl, but she's a little spicy. I think that she likes to straddle what they would call the world of flesh and the world of godliness. She likes to get a little bit of both from both elements. So as you would see in the film, she would wear kind of pants, jumpers, but it's maybe low rise. Looks a little professional but sexy. Skirts, dresses, animal print, kind of covered up, but the illusion of sexiness, maybe a little too short. It's always a part of her seduction. Yes, she's a part of the church, but she is still Briana. And Briana has a lot of deep levels to her and why she does the things she does. Okay, question number 2. What was your favorite moment on set? So, one of my favorite moments on set, I think I have a few, but let me try to think about one of my favorite moments on set was Briana coming to David and discussing what she's been through as a child. You see this vulnerableness in her, but it's not just that, because nothing's just that with her. These things happen to her in her life, yes, but she's learned to use the bad things in her life to manipulate people to get what she wants. And one of the things she wants is David. I think David is the idea of the life that she didn't have. The idea of this godly man, but sexy, and kind of like her foot in that godly door. But she still has that part of her that grew up very rough and exploited, that she grew up with that and she keeps with her in her everyday. And that dictates how she behaves with people and how she manipulates David. Let me see. When you watched the film for the first time, what was your takeaway? My takeaway was kind of like if you think about Shakespeare, a lot of the characters had tragic flaws. And Briana had tragic flaws. David had tragic flaws. And this is also a religious movie. It's about the church, about letting the world get inside of you and dictate who you are, and not letting God seep inside of you and dictate who you are. Letting your body decide things that are not meant for you when God's supposed to guide you onto those things. So that's really like my takeaway, that lean not on your own understanding, lean on God. And Briana she's used to depending on herself, she's used to manipulating situations to get what she needs, because in her life, a lot of times she didn't have what she needed. Okay, it says one high point in the film is how Briana slowly and methodically seduces and manipulates the character David. What was your approach in bringing your character's motivation out? And I kind of expressed it through the other questions. Her need to be wanted, to be saved, to win. She's not a girl that wins, you know. Her upbringing was not a girl who wins. She has to fight to get what she wants. And sometimes she has to steal to get what she wants, or manipulate to get what she wants. And she's used to being able to get away with it. But at some point, all those things catch up with you. So, as I said, she sees David as kind of like the ideal life for her, what she feels like she represents, and what she feels like he will make her represent and make her this wholeness of this idea of church and her. And I've always had in my mind about her that, you know, her mom did have some roots in church. The family had some roots in church, but she was exploited, and her mom was this complicated person that she ends up taking on those complicated emotions and just dealing in complicated situations. So the approach of bringing that out was, let me use what has hurt me to get to him. Let me tell him about my most vulnerable that makes him comfortable. I'm going to give him compliments. I'm going to guide him in the way to be with me. When I find out that he's getting married, I'm like, I'm supposed to be your wife. I'm supposed to be the one that's supposed to be with you. So let me make my move. So it was all about her getting what she wanted in this life where she doesn't always get what she wants. But with that, she's had to learn to manipulate and weasel her way through places that she wouldn't normally be if she wasn't able to do those things. And that is my little bit about Briana. The anniversary of this movie is coming up, and I hope everyone that rewatches it continues to enjoy it, and anyone that hasn't seen it enjoys it as well. Bye.